I thought there was some really good things and some not so good things. You know, that was just kind of the theme of the day was consistency. You know, we started off the game with a 44-yard gain on an explosive pass, really well executed, great throw and catch. You know, get a good play on the second down, and you know, to get us to 2nd and 3, we get to 3rd and 3, and we have a protection issue, which leads us to have to kick a field goal on our first drive of the season, as opposed to, you know, possibly throwing a touchdown on the corner route there, and that's just kind of the theme, right? The theme of the day was details, details, details. You know, thought the guys played hard, but we didn't always play very smart. You know, the couple sequences you think about are, you know, before the end of the first half, where we only, you know, we had the interception, then the field goal after getting great field position, and then that backed up sequence when we did finally get the ball back in the fourth quarter. We do a great job getting the ball out from the backed up situation, but end up taking a sack and then having a early snap on 3rd down, which is never a good thing.
When you review the tape, how do you think the offensive line did, both run and pass?
You know, I think like everybody, it was, you know, hit or miss. You know, I think there was some things that we did well, and there was some communication issues and execution issues that we can't have. And you know, it starts all with them being on the same page, all 5. You know, doing what they're supposed to do together, communicating at a high level. And you know, hopefully we can get some of those communication things cleaned up. You know, I do believe they try to play physical, but at the end of the day, it's more about them being on the same page, communication, things like that is what leads to protection busts and, you know, free hitters in the run game.
How much is that having a new quarterback and a new center?
You know, I think some of the quarterback, you know, haven't played in a long time, and having, you know, a new center who's never played the position before in a game. I do believe that's a factor, whether we're trying not to let it be an excuse, but it's definitely a factor. I mean, I'd be lying probably if I said it wasn't. So, you know, we're looking for huge improvements from game 1 to game 2, from a communication standpoint and from an execution standpoint.
Devin really kind of got thrown in there on that first drive. I mean, it was all pass plays. Obviously, the first one was big. Did that help him get in a rhythm? I know he missed some throws throughout the game, but did that help?
I thought that's what I was kind of trying to do early on, was just get him in, you know, some completions early, and you know, I think he started the game well, and then we ended up kind of having some inerrant, you know, throws throughout the course of the first half, which just led to some issues. And so you look at him at the halftime, he's 8 of 20, and then he ends up going 10 for 11 in the second half, and doing some good things. He, you know, first time playing in a long time, and he's a G. You know, he'll respond.
What's the communication been like between the players coming off of last week and then heading into this week?
Hungry. You know, I by no means, when you look at the tape and you see how much was left out there, you know, you're hungry. You know, we averaged 7 yards of play and did some good things from an explosive standpoint, but the consistent execution, consistent details, snap in and snap out, you could tell in today's practice that there was more of a sense of urgency from a communication and detail standpoint.
You're always rooting for your defense and special teams to do well.
Yeah.
But it's a little unusual when they have 2 of those scores, kind of like a pitcher that his team scores a lot of runs and he's just sitting over there.
Yeah, I think you always love a team win, right? And I've learned specifically after 2 years ago against Florida, when I was pretty bummed and we had this unbelievable team win, and you're sitting there because you're responsible for a side of ball, and when you're disappointed, well, it affects you. And you felt that from our guys, which you kind of wanted in a way. You want them to feel like there was a lot of meat left on the bone, and but it's tough. I mean, you go down first drive of the third quarter, we go on a 7-play drive, we go 5 for 5 passing, we have 2 rushes for 27 yards, and you score, and 30-7 at that point, and you felt like we just got a little momentum, and then we don't touch the ball again until 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And that's just the way it is, you know, and our guys have to stay ready. They have to be able to respond. It's a good learning experience, you know, for them all. And but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that, kind of gets you sitting there and you're like, man, I just want to go play, especially after some of the momentum that we had just got from that touchdown drive.
In the communication, the operation issues, did those show up in the scrimmages, or is that the environment's different when you're playing around?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a lot of guys just a little amped up, right? I mean, just running routes short, throwing the ball fast, snapping the ball too quick. There was just a lot of little angst, and the good thing is it's correctable. I don't think any of us watched the film and just said, man, we couldn't move the ball, or we had nobody to throw to, or nobody to run here. I think there was there's some positives to take away from that, but I think it was just a little bit of some young guys, some guys that hadn't played in a long time, just a little anxious to go play and make plays. And some of it had shown up in some scrimmages, but probably not to the entirety that it did.
EK, you gave him 66 on Saturday, but Stoop said that's not what he thinks they're going to be.
No.
What do you see out of their defense?
Yeah,
66 excite you?
Yeah, I mean they're multiple. They're multiple front. They a lot like our defense. It's a similar overall philosophy in some ways, where they play odd. They'll stem to even. They'll stem to over. They mix it up in the back end from a coverage standpoint. They try to create chaos, with a lot of their stunts and movement, and that's something that we really need to practice this week and be prepared for. But sometimes games go a certain way, and that is in no way, shape, or form, I think, the defense that we'll see on Saturday. I just don't believe that. I know they'll get things fixed just like we're trying to get things fixed and improve on execution, alignment, assignment. So that's not something that we expect. We got to be ready to play a good, tough football team.
Liam, it looked like Ball State doubled Barryon quite a bit last week. How do you kind of, as still a young player, keep him encouraged that he may not have seen that much last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the things that we were hunting up from a coverage standpoint, where we were trying to push Barryon vertical, they ended up playing some single high structures, which essentially becomes a double because the corner and the safety end up taking two. Well, that's just so happens what kind of cleared some things out for Dane on some of those in-breaking routes. And sometimes within the game, things go a certain way. There's plays you call that you're hunting up one specific call or route, and they end up playing a different coverage, and the ball has to go elsewhere. And that was really the case on the first play of the game. We're trying to hit Barryon on the deep pylon. They end up kind of working soft on him, and that opens up Dane. Same with Dane's other big catch. We were trying to hunt up a certain coverage, and they doubled him. And I don't know if it was one of those things where they were like doubling him, but I do believe that they had presence through the middle of the field, probably for some of those deeper routes, which did open up the underneath. And he's a great kid that will only he's only trying to make plays for our offense and trying to do the best for our team. And we can definitely do a better job of putting him in a position to be successful as well.
What's it do for you calling plays when you've got special teams that went out and did what they did on Saturday and looks like could be a real weapon?
Oh man, it was the nice thing was confidence. Although we don't want to settle for field goals, but they're still points, right? They're still points, and we never want to lose out on points. And Alex can kick it, man, and he's confident, and the operation looked sharp. And I'm sitting there like I'm aggravated with myself and the offense for not obviously giving them an easier field goal. And he's just knocking them through with confidence and consistency. So that was fun to be around. That was really good for our team. And anytime you can score points, essentially, that's a good thing, although we want to finish those drives with touchdowns.
Liam, what's the added wrinkle in the fact that they have a coach on their staff who was with you 3 months ago, who knows your offense back and forth? Do you have to do anything differently this week?
Just some signals, things like that you might need to change. I mean, we don't do a ton at the line of scrimmage from, a communication standpoint in terms of the no huddle. So not really worried about any of the dialogue at the line of scrimmage. But, I love CJ, and I know he's probably going to try to help them as much as he can. They try to go win a football game. And I'm sure it'll be more like, hey, in these formations they like to do this, and this they like to do that, which that's something that ultimately, if they can get that, coordinated and communicated during the game, all the power to them.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
To our players,
Appreciate
thank you.
Man, every kicker's different, you know, and I like his demeanor. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, I like his demeanor. He was challenged pretty good here this fall camp, and had a day that he needed to come back from. It was a bad day from not just him. It was the whole operation. It was the snap. It was the hold. I mean, it was just, and then he came right back for it from it and went 9 for 10. And that next day, 2 days later in practice, and he was fired up. And I saw that, and I was like, man, that's pretty freaking good. So, yeah, I like his demeanor.
We just haven't seen him either. George Leonard here had one of those really long 50-plus attempts. He said he's good from 55. Do you want to see him out there try that at some point?
Hey, whatever is required of us inside the stadium, our head coach makes the decisions on whether or not we're going to go for a field goal or whatever. We just let him know the range for that day, what we feel like he's good from and can hit the same ball from. Every kicker always says that they can kick, kicks pretty deep. So, we just kind of go with what we feel is best.
I think some people were surprised with Ray's burst a little bit, that maybe they thought he was more of a plotter out there. Is that what you've seen since he got that kind of...
You know what? I don't predetermine. I hadn't seen Ray in games. I know a lot of Kentucky fans saw him in games last year, but this is a new school. I'm a different coach. Ray's a different player than he was the year before. So it was really good to see Ray do the things that he did, make things happen when things are closed off, make guys miss in the hole. I was really pleased with him.
How did you feel about the backs and protection? I know that's a big deal, protecting Devin. Running backs play a big part in that. It looked like both Ray and McClain had some nice pickups there. How do you feel they did overall?
We did solid in protection. That's a mark of the guys that play for us. Just pretty good in that area. That's one of the things I demand. You have to be able to protect in order to play.
On Barion's return, was it a clear sailing all the way, or did you get some good blocks in there as well that kind of sprung it?
Both. It was clear sailing, and we had some really good blocks by the other 10 members, including Ramon at the end with the very last block. He didn't have to do hardly anything at all, but hit it exactly where we told him to hit it. And then he, obviously he accelerated, and that acceleration is second to none in the country. So I mean, once he got clear of that first level past Ramon, if he didn't beat the kicker and the backside safety, that's on him. We couldn't block anybody else. We couldn't have blocked it any better than we did.
So Barry, what is for the receivers this week? What is like the main emphasis from a Coach Coen and Coach Woodward? What are y'all trying to prove on after last week?
Just being more detailed in everything we do, blocking, running routes, just a little bit of everything we do, just making sure we're being very detailed.
Is that the cleanest kickoff return touchdown you've ever had?
I had a lot of clean ones, but I really give that one to my coach and the blockers, man. They made it very easy for me. Had great blocks, great teams. That was a great team rep in general, and man, coach just give us the blueprint, and we go out there and do it at 100%, always 100 effort. So yeah, I give that one to the blockers. That's not so much me. I give that all to my team right there.
When did you know it was a house call?
When I got the first one, and they tackled me, and it was just ball came short. Blocks didn't really get to do what we wanted to do. I didn't really get to do what we wanted to do. So I just went back to the sideline and told coach next one's gonna be a crib.
When you start a game off, you don't catch the pass there. What's your mindset to make sure that doesn't happen again and you bounce back?
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Can't dwell on one drop. Everybody drop passes. Just making sure my mindset is next play always. Next play mentality. Can't let one play determine the game.
Thank you, Barry.
Just send them. Whoever's talking.
Whoever's
talking to you.
Whoever you'd like to look at.
Cool.
Whoever's asking you questions.
So, Jagger Hat, how did you think it went for you?
Thanks, Tony.
That's huge. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's, it's something where every week you just want to keep improving and kind of try to flush that last week, regardless if it's, really good, really bad. Just continue to, improve every week and make sure every week's better than last week, regardless of the outcome of last week. So that's really all I'm focused on right now.
Obviously, you've been doing this in scrimmages since the spring, but did it feel different with all the fans in the stand, knowing it counted out there a little bit?
Yeah, it's always a little different, especially week one. Everybody, you're so ready to go and you get, all hyped up, and then you got to kind of just settle back in and realize this is exactly what I've been doing in fall camp. It's just, finally we're going to go against people that aren't on our team, and really, give all our effort and just try to open up holes for the backs and block as long as we can for Devin.
Jagger, improving communication was a big talking point for Liam. For you as a center, what does that mean? Is it getting calls in early? Is it recognizing fronts? What do you have to improve on there?
Yeah, I think it's with communicating and stuff, it's a weird balance. You want to be really good at communicating, but you don't want to communicate too much.
Yeah.
I think at times, Saturday we definitely did that. We kind of communicated a little too much, and we've talked about that, and it's something that this is where we get better at it in practice, and it's something that is a real vocal point, focus point for us this week. So, I'm excited to just get out there on Saturday and see the improvements we made, and that's what it's all about.
Despite needing to work on some things, still 1 sack allowed. That's a huge difference from last year. So, how do you guys continue to keep that up, right? 1 or 0, keeping Leary protected?
Yeah, kind of like what I said earlier. I think it's, flush last week's performance. We're happy about it on Sunday, and then just kind of back to work on Monday. We want 0, we don't want 1. So always striving for that, and striving, there was some plays where Devin made us look good up front, and plays that maybe should have been a sack and weren't. So we're just kind of trying to eliminate those bust and protection and protect Devin as much as we can, because he's special when he's protected.
As an in-state guy, how fun is it to go against a team like EKU?
Yeah, it's fun. Last week was fun too. We had I think 2 guys on Douglas from Douglas that were there, so it was good to see those guys. And then this week I know there's 2 or 3 on Douglas for EKU. So just getting to see some guys you play high school ball, it's always fun, especially when they're doing great things too. So it'll be a fun game, and we're worried about us and win another game.
With Kenneth going down, how do you feel Dylan stepped up in his spot?
Yeah, I feel like Dylan did a great job. It's something that Stoops preaches a lot, is prepare every week like you're a starter or you're a star player. And I think he took that to heart, and he did that this week, and it showed up on Saturday. He went in there and we didn't really miss a beat. He kind of just stepped in. He knew what to do. He did his job good, and we'll just keep building on that this week until Horsey gets back.
Game 1 down. After watching the film, does the offensive line have a goal this week that you guys would like to work on in practice?
I think our goal is just like I said earlier, protect Devin as much as we can. 0 sacks is obviously the main goal, and then open up holes for Ray. Maybe 300 rushing yards for Ray. Whatever the game allows for. Games have different flows, and you want to either run the ball or pass the ball. You never know. So I would say the biggest one is just trying to keep the sack number as low as possible and just protecting Devin for as long as we can.
When you have an opening game, everybody's hyped and amped up to play, and then you have some weird circumstances where there's a defensive score or special team score. Is it kind of frustrating to sit on the sideline for so long and want to get back out there?
Yeah, it was a little frustrating. We kind of talked about it on Sunday. It felt like we were sitting there for a long time, with the scoop and score and then the kick return for Barron. You're obviously super excited and happy, but then it just kind of, me and Eli were kind of joking about it after the game, and I was like, man, I stopped sweating, and I sweat a bunch. So I was like, I know we didn't get that many snaps, and then we came in, I think it was like 58 or 59 snaps. So yeah, it was just a weird game with the flow of it and the rhythm of it, but you never know. That could be any game during the season. You got to be ready for it. Ready for whatever rhythm the game is, and if the defense makes plays, and they make plays, and we'll sit on the sideline and root them on.
How did you think you did on gun snaps overall? How different is it in a game compared to doing it in practice?
Yeah, it's something that I'm continuing to work on. I've got a lot of snaps, obviously, and it's just something where in a game it's always a little different. You're always thinking about it a little bit more. When I come out here, it's I'm not really thinking about it, and that's something that I just kind of want to get back to on the game on Saturday, is just mindlessly snapping the ball. I've done it so many times. It's such a I don't know, like a rhythmic movement for me, because I have so many reps at it. I think sometimes on Saturday I was just, worried about it, thinking about it too much, first time snapping in the game. And, I'm going to focus on that this week for sure.
Thanks,
Everybody good?
Thanks, Jagger.